Lynn,
Hello.
thanks for coming on. It's
Well,
nice
thanks
to
for
see
having
you.
me.
Let's get into it. Who are you? What's your business? How have you got to be here? What problem do you solve?
Okay. So my name is Lynn Erasmus. I've got a social enterprise called Pathfinder CIC. So it's a kick social enterprise. So it's about building communities and then plowing the profits back into the business,
Nice.
into the communities. So we're based in Scotland,
Whereabouts in Scotland?
Perth.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. So
Yeah.
we take care of Tayside at the moment. So that's 2 regions. What we do is the core work that we do is trauma. So it's a hard word.
It is.
So that's why we mask it with a whole bunch of other stuff that's fun, like acupuncture and Reiki. And
It's funny with trauma, isn't it? Because and it's weird with entrepreneurship, because I feel like anybody who goes into entrepreneurship has some kind of trauma.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. It is so true because it drives you. So some people it drives to rock bottom, and some people it drives up to the sky to prove their worth and prove how successful they are, so that no one can ever challenge them or hurt them. And we get the two sides, and it's so interesting when we go. We also do somatic trauma informed workshops. So we believe that the tools that we use is not every tool is the right for every person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So some people need to understand it here in the head. So we use neuroscience to show them how trauma changed the brain,
Amazing.
how it affects your body, your emotions, how it changes you. So the key word is adaptation. So it adapts, which is beautiful, and it's encouraging, because if it can adapt you into something not so good, then you can adapt again into something beautiful.
Yeah.
So, you've heard this so many times. Pain into
Honestly,
purpose.
you're talking my language. I was working on a concept a couple of years ago, which was, and I literally called it the traumatic entrepreneur. And it was it was literally it was just a concept. Honestly,
Stop it.
No, genuinely.
Oh, we got it. Oh my God.
Because it was just about me. It's it was more of a diary, really. I was kind of working on it because, everyone has a rough ride, and it's all relative.
Yes.
We don't minimize people's trauma.
No. Trauma is trauma.
How do we manifest that into something good?
Yes.
And you look at people like Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, the big guys.
Yeah.
Elon Musk had a fucking horrible childhood, and he's gone on to be just one of the biggest entrepreneurs in history.
I know.
And I think what you're doing is incredibly relevant as well, given that we can talk about this a little bit more and a bit more freely.
Yeah, it's so refreshing to start talking about these kind of things, because it's a sore subject and a lot of people hide from it, But even with the I think that's something that I want to just put out there, is that the most successful people have also experienced the most traumatic things in their life. And it's not about one is better than the other.
No.
So, I was a raging alcoholic. I did not turn my pain into purpose. I just destroyed. I was a destroyer, and it nearly destroyed me and my family. And I was constantly like, oh my God, why are other people dealing with it so well? Why are they successful and I'm just a loser, destroying everything that I touch. And it's only now that I've been through all these processes and put all these frameworks together and understand it truly, is that's how I dealt with it. So I didn't have the tools, the resources, or the capacity to deal with whatever happened with me. Mm-hmm. And that's why I chose the worst one, So oftentimes with a person like Elon Musk or those highly successful people, they oftentimes have a resource.
Yeah.
They have someone who believes in them, someone who gives them a little bit of a, go get it.
Yeah.
You can do it, and they believe enough in it to go and move beyond it.
Yeah.
And the sad part, I think, is sometimes even people like Elon Musk, they're still unhappy.
Yes,
they're still struggling with whatever is holding them back, that drive them to that insanity.
They've just not dealt with it, have they?
Of never enoughness. Oh my God, I need to go to Mars.
Yeah.
I need to prove my worth, and it's just this psycho, we almost become psycho. We become, we addicts, right?
Yeah.
We addicted to attention, addicted to love, addicted to success, addicted to pain. Whatever is our addiction, it's a masking, and we all choose our own addiction. So that I think is important to discuss and share, because there was a lot of shame for me because I chose alcohol. And why couldn't I have chosen?
I can massively relate to that. There's huge alcoholism in my family. Yeah,
you see, and it's like this one woman said it so beautiful. She says it's like glitter.
Yeah,
it's just everywhere, and you can't clean it up.
But it's one of those, isn't it? Like, alcohol is so abundant. I mean, it's getting a little better now. Like, there's more like low alcohol and alcohol-free drinks, and I think people are wising up and like quitting drinking, because it's damaging. It can be great fun.
Yes,
it can be medicating. It can be soothing, but it's so
supposed
destructive.
To be fun, right?
Yeah,
it's not supposed to control you.
No.
So the minute it start controlling you, then there's a little bit of a challenge. You need to unhook that. Mm-hmm. You need to release that.
Do you find entrepreneurs have like massively addictive personalities?
Yeah, of course.
They have to, right?
Yeah.
Surely.
Oh man, we're nuts.
So entrepreneurship really should be like the path to good, like rather than
oh my God,
alcoholism or cigarettes or weed or whatever.
But you know what we've been taught in school is like, here's your little box. So you need to go and get a job, go to university, or do this or do that.
Yeah, buy a house, have a family.
Do they ever put you in front and say, you know what, you're a little bit of a misfit. You the riffraff of the class. You should become an entrepreneur. Yeah. So when I used to go to schools, and I was in South Africa, I was I'm a journalist by trade. So I had a newspaper, a community newspaper,
nice.
And putting events together and focus a lot on youth entrepreneurship, especially with working with the young people in the townships. And we would go around and say, like, give us all your naughty kids, all the ones that you want to expel, you want to get rid of in your class, bring them to us. That's our entrepreneurs. Because, oh my God, the things that they can do, the things that they dream up, and they've got the courage to do it. Well, that's a high risk thing.
You've just reminded me. I've been reading this. One of my favorite TED Talks of all time was Ken Robinson, where he talks about creativity and how we knock it out of kids.
Yes.
And it's usually, and he tells this story about this girl who's back in like the 20s, I think it was, and she's really disruptive. She's always fidgeting.
Yes.
And anyway, her mum took her to a psychologist, and he was like, let's come out of the room. And he turned the radio on, and this is a story that Ken Robinson was sharing. Took the parent out of the room, turned the radio on, and he's like, just watch her. And she starts like moving around the room. He's like, she's not destructive. She's a dancer.
Yes.
Take her to a dance school. And it's the same with like other kids. Like they want to build, they want to draw, they want to be creative.
Yes.
And I just think
sit
still, fingers on lips.
Put your tie on. And I was just thinking, my daughter's now on P7. And now you get the tie. And she's so proud of it, because now she's the big girl. She's got a tie.
Yeah, of course. Well,
and my instinct was like, oh, yay, look at my girl. She's now P7. She's got a tie. And then my heart just sank, and I was like, they started.
Yeah.
This is where they start. Put the tie on, constrict, keep your voice closed,
Do you know about the children's welfare bill that's trying to be passed in this country?
No.
Look it up.
Oopsie.
Look it up. It's basically talking about what you're talking about. I don't really want to cast any aspersions on the podcast, but like, maybe we can talk sort of afterwards. But have a look at that, because it's kind of talking about what you're talking about there as well. But so, what stage of your business? What's the stage of your business now? Like, what do you need to move forward, and what are you looking for in terms of help moving forward and things?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, even though I've been on this journey now for 8 years, what I eventually, so I always say to people, like, it's not the day when I quit drinking. It wasn't that one day. It was that compound effect. It was 15 years of trying.
Trying and trauma,
15 years, I was the butt end of everyone's joke. It's like, oh my God, here goes Lynn again.
Yeah.
How long? Let's take a bet. How long is it going to last this time? And then one day, that was rock bottom. I had enough. Yeah. I've reached my point. So since then, I was just so fanatical. I was like, this is going to stick. This time it's going to work. And I tried all these things, from meditations to visualizations to manifestation to acupuncture to hypnosis to somatic movements to trauma-informed. So it's all these things that I've learned and collected along my way to help me release all the things healthily without, sabotaging myself. Yeah. And that still happens, just by the way.
Well, we all fall. We all have vices.
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
Not
I'm a freaking workaholic now.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. But becoming addicted to our work seems like a badge of honor.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And there are some downfalls to that because things can happen with your family and like. Look,
burnout.
I know some of these, just as well as anybody. Exactly. But yeah, burnout is a big one. Yeah,
massive.
So how big is your community now?
So I restarted this again. So when I left South Africa in 2020.
All right.
And then I went back into the corporate space. And then it was only 2 years ago I went back into the healing space. So followed it up again, and now I feel like I'm in the space of phase 2. So now we've built a phenomenal community of people. The work is transformational. It just work. It just work. It's across the board. We just received funding from the NHS Tayside Charitable Trust to deliver this work for 2 years to vulnerable individuals in Tayside.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's Dundee and Perth.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of Dundee. It's the worst.
I've been to Dundee. Yeah,
okay, so it's the worst capital or city for drug use and deaths. Yeah, so very, very needed. The acupuncture protocol that we follow was designed for the veterans in the 70s who struggled with PTSD and addiction.
Right.
So that's the protocol that we follow. So it calms your nervous system. So that's what we first do. We calm your nervous system, and then we detox your organs. So when we say detox, it's not just physical detox, it's also emotional detox. Yeah. And that's why we partner up now with Nature Vera, a phenomenal organization in South Africa, my home country, and I've been following her, and she's had incredible results. So the thing is, with trauma and acute anxiety, it changed the biodome of your gut.
Yes.
Okay, so your gut health change. So that's why we need to, we do our part by changing your body, your emotions, and also your spirit. So we work a lot with spirit guides and help you to connect back within your body to feel safe again. But you also need a little bit of extra support. And that's where the gut detox come in, to clean yourself, get rid of all the heavy metals, toxins and parasites in your gut, pump your body with all the vitamins so that you can then reproduce all the serotonin, all that feel-good hormones in your gut. You become healthier. You become more optimistic. You become more energetic. You want to make healthy choices. You know what I mean?
It's incredible, isn't it? Like, just how much this controls you. Like,
crazy.
And it's only in the last sort of like 5-6 years people are really talking about it mainstream now, isn't it? Like,
and that's what I keep finding, because I was like working this. So we start ridding the emotions. So people start feeling a bit healthier or angry, So a lot of people are repressing the anger, and that's when it starts showing up in the liver.
It does, yeah.
And we're like, get angry, let's smash things.
Anger. It's funny actually, because me and my friends, and we've spoken about this. Like, anger is such a natural emotion.
It's beautiful.
Like, and it's so releasing, and it's so short-lived. Actually,
yes.
So it's like in quick bursts. It's amazing. Like, but I think there's like a stigma around like anger and like just feeling like you can't be angry. And
but what do we do to a 2-year-old who throws a temper tantrum?
I mean, I've been guilty of this. I'm not going to lie.
But that's how we've been taught. That's how we've been parents. So that's how we parent our children. We shame them into silence. We shame them because they show anger. What's the first word a child says? No, no. Kids are incredible.
Yeah, so something, a derivative of that, yeah.
So first thing they learn, they know how to put boundaries up. They kick ass, man. They know how to keep space for themselves.
There's so much we can learn from kids, right?
I know. So that's what we say. Like, if you've got a kid, you've got such an advantage above everyone else. All you need to do is just watch them. Just watch them. Just let them feel that joy. tap back into that abundance of just creativity and craziness and running around and screaming and running in puddles and getting messy and, laughing till your belly hurts and
sounds like we all need to reconnect with our inner child again, right?
Yes.
Lynn, this has been amazing. I've loved this, and we definitely need to talk more after this because there's a lot of crossover there in what we're 100%. Doing. Where can people find you? Domains, social handles?
Pathfinder Kick. So it's not that big. I've been building my own profile, Lynn Erasmus. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, starting on YouTube. Got a little TEDx talk, transforming trauma into happily ever after. You can reach out to me anyway. Love to have a conversation. And this is what I want the next phase. So basically replicate what we've been building and putting it in different councils. So having a little franchise opportunity, everything that we've learned, all the tools, all the resources, all the techniques that we've been using, and replicate that across the regions. And hopefully, so we've got the hashtag 1 million rebels. So that's what it's all about.
Love that.
Yeah, to create rebels like you and
misfits.
Me. Yeah,
rebels
there we go. Worldwide, who are resilient, who are resourced, who are fulfilled, who joyful and tapping back into their inner child and letting that trauma being transformed into happily ever after.
Oh, fantastic, Lynn. Honestly, I wish you the best of luck with everything, and I love your energy.
Thank you, and
you're amazing. Thank you.